So today I'm going to be talking about why is it when you watch professional football, why it looks so slow sometimes. Sometimes when you watch professional football, when you watch a 90-minute game, you just see the centre back sort of get the ball from the keeper sometimes, and they're just laboured. They're taking their time. It's so slow. They have the time to just look at their options, look up, assess their options, give it to the other centre back. Now the other centre back has time, and you don't really see like the strikers really pressing them. You know what I'm saying? Um, I would always think that this in my games. I'd always think that, yo, how is it that in professional football, when these centre backs get the ball, what's it called? When these centre backs get the ball, no strikers ever pressing them. They always have time to pick their head up, find a pass. Whereas me, when I was playing centre back when I was young, probably like 7 aside, 9 aside, anytime I'd get the ball from the keeper, the striker was straight rushing onto me. Like every single time I'd have to sort of get the ball from the keeper quick, look up, pick my head, and sort of just find a pass. Like sometimes I'll be thinking, right, professional football, it looks easier than my games. Like this doesn't make sense. Like I was so baffled, I was so confused. And probably some of you guys are as well. Some of you guys are probably still watching football thinking, raw, like why does it look easier than in the games I play? Like these are professional footballers, but on TV it looks kind of easy compared to my game. You know what I'm saying? People aren't really pressing as much. It looks like people have more time on the ball. But in this vid, I'll literally be explaining why this is the case. Why professional football, when you watch it on TV, looks so slow sometimes. Now, the first point about why professional football on TV looks so slow is actually that the professional footballers are just so much better at sort of playing under pressure, so much better at negating pressure, so much better. Just basically, just there's just so much more press resistance. So, so literally, imagine you're playing against someone like Sergio Busquets. Imagine you're playing against Busquets. When Busquets gets the ball every single time, you're not just gonna run at Busquets full pace every single time to try win the ball, because you know, hey, this guy, he's too composed for that. Like he'll just turn you this way, Cruyff turn here, and he's always gonna find his pass. You know, his touch is gonna be crisp every single time, pretty much, and yeah, you basically just know you're not getting the ball. I remember even Steven Gerrard saying that when he was playing Barcelona, when he was playing against Busquets, he just stopped pressing him because it was like, yo, what is the point? And obviously, Busquets is one of them rare players, but there's also so many other more players who are just press resistant. You know, you can name so many players who you feel like if you just run at them, you just try press them all game, they're not losing the ball. You think of guys like Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Foden. Most of these guys for Man City, I'll be real. That's why they're just on another level, because they just got players where it's like if you press them, they'll just play around you. They'll do a little La Croqueta around you. You know what I'm saying? They'll just hit you with a body feint and then they're gone the other way. It's just, yeah. So if you try press these type of players all game, you're just gonna waste your energy. You're just gonna waste your energy. You're gonna burn out, and you're gonna leave spaces in behind you. So yeah, and what's it called? Other professional teams know this as well. They know if they should just go man for man, if they just try to run at guys like Rodri, KDB, Bernardo Silva, these guys, they have the quality to just play around them every single time. They're just gonna play around you. They're gonna literally just penetrate the space that you left them behind. And yeah, basically you trying to press professional guys like that, you're just killing your team. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see so many teams like. That's why you see so many what's it called, promotion teams who just got promoted from the championship to the prem. They're just told to hold back, sit back, just stay in their shape, and then hit them on the counter attack. That's what pretty much any single team that comes up against Man City. To be honest, is like every single team has to hold back, and then once they get the ball, then they can counter attack. You never see guys going full um, all out sprint to go press Rodri. You know what I'm saying? You don't see guys going all out to go press guys like Bernardo Silva, especially when they're deep in their half. Like how many times we've seen Rodri pick up the ball from like John Stones or something from his centre back, and you see a guy charging at Rodri. He's not gonna do that because he knows Rodri has the quality to just boop or just play the pass to KDB or Bernardo, and then they're gone. And then obviously that player who charged that Rodri, he's left the space in behind, and now Man City have a chance to go and attack, possibly go and score. So, and yeah, like I said, other professional players know this. So this is, that's the first reason why pro players are just so much more press resistant. That in certain situations, in certain areas, there's no point in them pressing because they just know like, yo, he's not gonna lose the ball in this situation. If I go press full all out, he's just gonna play around me and I'm gonna kill my team. So yeah, that's the first point. And obviously compare that to when you play in your games, yeah. In your games, the players aren't as good, they aren't as press resistant. If you're really young, most players probably don't have those technical skills, those little things of just checking their shoulders, knowing which way to turn. So it's easier to just press them. You can literally just do a mindless press. You can literally just run at them, and then they'll force a mistake. They'll probably panic on the ball, obviously, because they're young players. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like 12, 13. They'll probably panic on the ball. So then you actually going to press them, you have like a 70% chance of winning the ball. But in the pro game, like I said, when you have guys like Busquets, it's just not really gonna happen. So the pros see it as like, oh, there's no point in me going to press. Let me just hold my shape. Let me just chill, hold my shape. And in the pro game, it's much more about sort of cutting off angles for the passes. You know what I'm saying? They're not really trying to necessarily win the ball every time, like as in make a tackle, but it's more interception based. It's more just closing off the space. So let's say Rodri has the ball, it's more like closing off that space so Bernardo Silva and KDB can't really get the ball. Closing off the space so Foden can't get the ball, you know what I'm saying? And then eventually Man City, let's say it's Man City for example, eventually someone in the back line for Man City, whether it's Rodri, whether it's John Stones or a Kanji trying to play out from the back, they're obviously gonna get frustrated, they're gonna get irritated, and they're gonna try to force that pass inside. And then obviously because the other team have closed off the space, they've got the interception, and now they have the chance to sort of counter attack. That's how it sort of works. They're not really trying to win the ball every single time of certain players. They're just trying to cover the spaces, block off angles, block off options for passes, basically. Whereas in your games, you can just run at people. You don't really have to think about the spacing behind this or that. You can literally just run at someone, and they'll probably panic on the ball. They're probably not as press resistant though, and then there's a good chance, there's like a 75% chance that you go into press, you're gonna get the ball. Whereas in the Prem, when you're just going up against these technicians, you know what I'm saying? When you're going up against guys like other midfielders like McAllister, like Kobe Mainu, if you press them in like silly areas, they're just gonna turn you. They're just gonna play around you. You know what I'm saying? And then the player who's pressed them, they've left, like I said, they've left space in behind, and yeah, they've left space in behind, and they're killing their team. They might concede a goal, concede a chance. There might be a shot taken, yeah, so there's literally just no point in them sort of pressing the center backs, pressing even the DM sometimes. So what you see more in professional football is more teams setting up what's it called, teams holding a shape in a way where they're setting up traps, and they're basically just waiting for a trigger. So if you don't know what a trigger is literally just the indicator on when to really go 100% and go all out and go for a press, basically. So like a trigger could literally be a player taking a poor first touch, or a winger taking a touch backwards. Because you've always heard that phrase of, if you've been a fullback, you've probably been told that, yo, as soon as the winger shows his back to you, that's when you go in hard on him. That's what you basically call a trigger. Pause if needed, by the way. But yeah, that's what you call a trigger. It's just something. It's just an action in the game that happens that basically tells you, okay, this is the time to press. That player's just taking a poor touch, it's time to press. That player's the winger's taking a touch backwards, it's time to press. Or what's it called? Let's say a centre midfielder is trying to receive the ball off a defender, and instead of coming at an angle, they've come straight on. That's another trigger to press, because obviously if they've come straight on, it takes way longer for them to turn. Whereas if they've come at an angle, they can see the whole game. You know what I'm saying? So in the pro game, they don't, like I said, there's really sort of not really that much intention to actually tackle and win the ball. It's just more sort of closing off spaces, closing off angles, just closing off those options so players can't find the pass. Until eventually those players on the ball, they get frustrated, they try play a ball between the lines, and then the other team intercepts it, and then they get a chance to counter attack. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why in football it's so rare to see like proper ball winners. You know, when you see guys like Kante, that's why it's so special, because it's like raw. Like most players aren't really doing that. When you see Kante literally getting guys off the ball, what's it called? Tackles, interceptions, just getting guys off the ball. That's why it's so rare to find like proper ball winners in the game. Most midfielders are like sort of like get the ball, turn on it and then play out. Whereas guys like Kante, even guys like Declan Rice, that's why he's so valuable for Arsenal, because Declan Rice, he isn't the best on the ball. He can't really turn on it, you know what I'm saying? When he turns, he's a bit stiff, you know what I'm saying? But one thing that Declan Rice can do is he can win the ball, you know what I'm saying? He can get stuck in, get challenges in, and obviously that's a rare sort of trait in football these days. Just having a guy in there He should just win tackles for you, make challenges, make interceptions, and yeah, that's why it's so valuable for Arsenal. Because obviously, like I said, in the pro game, guys aren't really looking to win the ball every single time. They're looking to press at the right times, press when there's triggers, and yeah, just close off angles, close off space, so they can intercept and then put their team on the counter attack. And then the last point I want to make is literally that if you actually watch a full 90-minute match, like if you watch the pros, watch how they play, even the quote unquote sort of, even the wingers who you would expect to like take loads of touches, dribble, try to take on their man, even them over a full 90-minute game, they don't, majority of the time, it's usually just 1 and 2 touch. Even the guys who you think, oh, now they took on their man, guys like Doku, guys like Mahrez, guys like Saka, you know what I'm saying? All these guys, you'd think, oh yeah, they all get, every single time they get the ball, they're trying to be direct. But in reality, if you actually watch the game, most of the time it's always just 1 or 2 touch with these guys. It's more about finding pockets of space, a ball getting played into that pocket of space, them turning and then playing quickly again, playing in 1 touch, playing in 2 touch. Saka probably does this. Saka's probably like one of the best wingers at doing this. Like he'll find a pocket, he'll come from out wide, sort of drift sort of in the middle. He'll find that pocket of space, and then maybe a guy like Saliba will find him with a pass, or Rice or Partey, or maybe Ben White will find him with that pass, and then he's in between those lines, in behind the midfield line and then in front of the defensive line. And then from there, he can choose what to do. He can choose to shift inside and shoot, or give it to Odegaard inside, or maybe ping the ball over to maybe Trossard on the other side or something like that. But my point is, most of the majority of the plays is literally just 1 or 2 touch. So like I said, it doesn't really pay for the pros to like just go all out and start pressing people, because they get to people and then they go for a full out press, and then they've just been played around. Because like I said, the pros don't take too many touches. They know when to play it simple, and they know those rare occasions where to really, take 5, 6, or 7 touches when they're going 1v1 with a player. That's what I realized when I moved to the first team, is that when I was playing in like the 18s, the 23s, you know what I'm saying, I'd go press a man and then I'd win the ball, you know what I'm saying? I'd always win the ball. That's kind of what I became known for, as a ball winner. So I'd go in and I'd always win the ball. But as soon as I went to the first team, it was like, yo, I can't even get near these guys. Like as soon as I get like a yard there or 2 yards there, they'd either pass it round, they'd already make the decision and they'd pass it round me, or they'd give it back. Or as soon as I'd see someone with their back to the game, so I'd go in and I'd press him, and I'm thinking, yeah, I've got the ball, but he just bounced it back to the centre back. I couldn't get near them. I couldn't really make any challenges like that. Because if that's the under 18s and there's a guy who's got his back to the game and he's received it from the centre back, I know for a fact that, yo, this guy probably hasn't really checked his shoulders. He's probably going to take 3 or 4 touches, and I can just nab in and get the ball. But when I moved to the first team, it was like, nah, like these guys literally prioritize. They check their shoulders, make sure their surroundings, and they're always trying to play in 1 or 2 touch, because they know, yo, the quicker they play, the quicker they play, they can just get their team higher up the pitch, move the ball, and obviously when you move the ball, you're moving the other team around, and then obviously spaces will open up. So yeah, that's literally the reason why you see on TV the professional game looks kind of slower, and you kind of think to yourself, yo, why is no one pressing? And it's just more of a case of like, they can't press in every single area of the pitch. They have to sort of pick and choose their moments when to press. More time that's in the middle of the pitch, when the pitch gets congested, or when someone's trying to play a ball in between the lines, and someone from the other team, they step in, they win the ball, and then they can spring their team on a counter attack. So yeah, that's all I've got to say for this vid. I hope you enjoyed. I've been JT, and I'm out.